All right. So the name, the idea behind this particular project, which is Solar Oil Project, is really about fundamentally solving a very, very major issue that exists at the moment. Okay. So as we go through this, you will notice there'll be certain sections that I'll describe a little bit of things about. And if you have any questions, please post them in the chat and I'll come back to them at the end. Okay. So what is the Solar Oil Project? And you'll notice right here, the main thing that we highlight is that this is not a company. This is something much beyond a company. It is something that actually operates very much not like a company. Before we go into any details, I just want to clarify, obviously, this is not a financial presentation. Anything that I talk about in terms of future price of oil and things like that, that cannot be taken as some kind of a guarantee or financial advice about movement of price of oil and so on. If you have any questions about things like that, you should talk with somebody who is actually accredited to answer those questions. So don't interpret anything that we discuss from a financial perspective to be any kind of investment advice and so on. Okay, so the Solar Oil Project is not a company. It is fundamentally a revolutionary smart contract social initiative. And what that means is this is a social initiative that is enforced and run by smart contracts. It is not run by individuals or people involved, which ensures transparency, fairness, and so on. So there's a very severe ecological crisis that has been underway, that has been kind of built up over time. And if you do any quick research on this, you will see this. There are millions of abandoned oil wells that are leaking methane and many other chemicals as well into the water, into the air around the world. You can see these are headlines from Reuters, the Texas Tribune, and you can find many, many others out there as well. So these oil wells currently present a $500 billion cost just to clean them up in various states in the US, in Canada, and Mexico. Just the state of Texas alone is expected to spend about $117 billion on this particular cleanup. And the cause behind this is very, very straightforward. At the moment, majority of the oil wells out there, especially the old oil wells, the low production wells, they use very inefficient and old technology. And as the price of oil has fluctuated, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Every time the price of oil goes down, it causes many of these oil well owners and operators to abandon these wells. In some cases, they will literally just leave perfect machinery on there, just switch it off and leave. It's just not viable for them to run that anymore. The consequence of that has been tremendous environmental damage. This is actually one of the top 5 issues that governments recognize is their environmental issue to resolve. It doesn't get the airtime that a lot of the other things like global warming do, but this is a very real problem. It actually exists. It's very measurable. There's a lot of water and soil contamination. There's carbon and methane pollution from this. And of course, the cleanup of that is a cost on the taxpayers. The solution to this is the Solar Oil Project. That's why this project was created, why it was founded, and it's in partnership with many, many major companies out there, oil well operators, machinery manufacturers, and so on. Here is what the solution looks like. It's actually pretty straightforward. We have people who go out there and they replace the old inefficient technology. In some cases, this is 5 to 10,000, 100,000 pounds worth of machinery. It's very, very dangerous. It's very expensive. It has tremendous maintenance. And it gets replaced instead with eco-friendly solar-powered pumps. These are pumps that operate for years and years with no issues. There are no moving parts above the ground and so on. And one of the reasons this technology hasn't received as much attention is that it's not been financially viable for a lot of these small-time operators to hear about it, to experiment with it, to deploy this, and actually move into this new era of oil production. The benefits are pretty straightforward. These are solar-powered pumps. They create a much cleaner environment. You have tremendous improvements in efficiency, which means you have much lower costs of operation. And you can actually now, when you start implementing these, you can revitalize local economies because all these people who have lost their jobs or have tremendously reduced and heavily impacted financial outlook because of the oil prices fluctuating, they can now actually work on these new pumps and go out and take over these old oil wells that nobody's working with it now. They're just sitting there as a big hazard and they can put these pumps on. It creates a lot of jobs locally as well. And then finally, you reduce the carbon intensity of production. Since everything is either solar powered or significantly more efficient, you have much less carbon intensity in production of oil. And this is a massive, massive opportunity. And this is one of the things that I really want to get across. There are literally 3 million plus oil wells in just North America alone. It is practically a limitless opportunity. It is a tremendously massive opportunity. It's not something we'll even be able to handle just on the solar oil project side as a whole. We are just looking to make a giant dent in this problem. And the great thing about the way this project has been created is that you can benefit from this while helping restore the planet. Okay, the way the solar oil project works is it allows you to get access to tokenized oil well portfolios. And the production of oil and the revenue from that oil production now gets distributed to people who are a part of this project. All of this is enforced with a smart contract, which makes sure that there is no human error. It's very transparent. Anybody can go on the blockchain and actually see what is happening. They can make sure that no human being is in there manipulating things or making mistakes. And then finally, even though this is a very local problem in certain areas, the oil producing areas, it allows global participation. So now it allows people all around the world to participate in this, to benefit from the oil production, and at the same time help resolve these issues that would have never been addressed by those people at a different stage, right? You have participants in India and Philippines and Vietnam and all these places helping resolve oil well issues in the US state of Texas or in Alberta, Canada. And at the same time, they get to earn from it and they get to benefit from it as well. And that's the essence of this project. That's why we call it a very significant social initiative. The process of participating in it is very, very straightforward. You go to the website and create a completely free account. No information is hidden. Everything is transparent. There is no cost to join. There is no cost on a monthly basis. You just create your account. You log into the platform and you decide how many solar oil access tokens, SOX, you want to purchase and stake. Okay, each token is 10 cents. It's always a fixed cost. There is no fluctuation on that. And the minimum to join is just 200 tokens, which makes it very accessible to everybody around the world. And then it allows them to stake these tokens and earn rewards from the oil production in the form of solar oil production token for the next 10 years. I'm sure everybody on this call has heard this saying. You've had people say, I wish there was a company. I wish I knew that I had a home. I wish I was a part of something where I knew that my income was secure, that I wasn't going to get terminated. I couldn't get terminated, any of those kind of things. And at the same time, I was genuinely making a real positive impact. Okay, I wasn't just hawking potions and random things to people, but was genuinely making a real impact around the world. This is that initiative. This is that project where you can be very proud of what you're doing. You can make tremendous, tremendous financial gains from it. And at the same time, you have a home and recurring income coming in from these tokens for the next 10 years. So let's walk through that process. So every single day, the oil wells that are in the solar oil project portfolio, they produce oil. And each barrel of oil results in the production of one solar oil token, okay, one solar oil production token. And I really want to emphasize this point. You will notice when you investigate the smart contract behind this, you will notice that these tokens don't exist. They literally come into existence as a barrel of oil is pulled out of ground. And this prevents one of the major issues that I think any of you who have participated in cryptocurrency projects before have seen, where you have people claiming they're doing something, but you find out, oh, they just have a wallet with millions of these tokens sitting in it, and they're just distributing them. That's not what's happening here. Literally, a barrel of oil is produced. The report comes in from the oil well, and in turn, SOPX token is generated. Now, these tokens can be held if you want to hold them, just like real oil, or you can convert them at current price of oil in exchange for Bitcoin or Ethereum. Okay, so this allows you to have liquidity whenever you want it. It allows you to hold on to it if you want it. It's just like if you were holding on to real barrels of oil. You had to, you were warehousing them or holding them in tanks or something. The price of the SOPX token is not determined by some secret company or some central authority. It is literally determined by the global price of oil. So as the price of oil around the world fluctuates up and down, the price of SOPX token moves alongside it. And this makes sure, this 100% assures everybody who participates that this is not one of those weird, let's just call them scams, because we all are, adults here. We know what's happening. This is not one of those companies where they are giving you some random token and they're like, oh, the price of token is up today and it's down today, and they're making it up as they go along. It is literally determined by the global oil price. So now the obvious question is, okay, what does that mean? What is the oil price expected to be? Now, there are a lot of different predictions out there. There are predictions ranging anywhere from $50 to $200 on what the price of oil in the future could be. The most accepted prediction is that it's going to be around $72, $65 in that neighborhood is what the price of oil is going to end up as. So let's look at a scenario of what that would look like. If we had a user who had staked 300,000 tokens, okay, they had purchased this many tokens and staked them, and the price of oil averaged $67 over the next 10 years, and we kind of underperformed almost, but we just produced the average amount of oil that is expected out of these old oil wells, which is around 3.5 barrels of oil per day. In that scenario, over the next 10 years, there would be 3,832 barrels of oil produced, which you can see right here on the right side as SOPX rewards, which would equate to about $187,000 in the oil value. So when you would convert that oil, when you would sell that oil, this is about the total amount you would be expecting. Okay, now, to be very clear, we're talking about average across 10 years. So obviously, there'll be some years and some months where the price of oil might be 50, and some years and some months where the price of oil might be 120. So it would move alongside it, but this is what it would average out to in that scenario. Now, this calculator is available on the site. So you would be able to go on the site, play around with it, look at different scenarios and what may happen. And you can use that to make some relevant guesses on what to expect. A very common question that comes out of this is, well, wouldn't oil kind of go down over time, or the use of oil will go away? And the answer is not really. Even if you had all electric cars, oil is actually used in a tremendous number of industries. So you can be assured that at least for a few decades, this isn't going away. Okay, it's going to be around. And that makes sure, that allows you to know that the next 10 years, as the production of oil is coming in, you have some semblance of peace, knowing it's going to still be around for a while. Now, that obviously begs the question, this is great. I want to get in this. I can help change the environment. I can help improve things. And I can now be earning on an ongoing basis from the production of the oil, from these oil wells. But how do I grow? How do I grow this further? How do I grow it quickly? And the answer is actually in the question of, well, how do all successful oil companies grow? But actually, how do all businesses grow? Most successful as well. So within the platform, you have the option to go in and set some settings in place saying, look, I want to take a portion of the oil that I generate from my staking, and I want to convert that into ongoing additional staking over time, which means you're also producing more tokens. It's basically the compounding effect. I think all of you on the call understand it, but it's very straightforward, very easy. It's designed to be very, very user-friendly. So they don't have to go in and manually basically liquidate their production tokens for Bitcoin and then go in and buy it again and so on. It allows them to grow on an automated way. Now, like all initiative, like all projects, the more people are involved, the more powerful this becomes. And that's why we really adhere to the idea of getting this to everyone around the world. So I think you've all heard of the idea of 6 degrees of separation, that everybody in the world is connected to each other with just 6 degrees of separation. So if I shared this with my friend and they shared it with their friends and so on, then pretty much everybody in the world over time will hear about this and be able to participate in it. So we have a 6 degrees of rewards incentive plan. It's very, very straightforward. You refer somebody, they join the platform and they become a stakeholder. When they do so, you receive a commission that is paid instantly in Bitcoin or Ethereum, depending on what they paid in, and gets paid into your wallet instantly. Okay. So And that's really the only component of this that's designed to help grow this. We are anticipating tremendous interest and tremendous growth just from the idea and the story behind this alone. Pretty much everybody I've talked with, pretty much everybody who has seen this so far, has recognized immediately that this is what everybody has been waiting for. This is that platform. This is that project where it's something real. There's a very clearly defined source of revenue. It's very easily testable and verifiable, because you can confirm that all these things about abandoned wells, where they're located, how they function, that all of these things are actually valid. They can be easily checked. And of course, being that all of this is on the blockchain, being that all of this is on the smart contract, it's very easy to verify that that is what is going on. So this is a true platform where we can actually say something that usually is a very cliche thing, like we can heal the world and actually get rewarded for it in a very literal sense. I know there's a lot of companies out there and they like to say things like, oh, we are helping the world and we're healing the world because, you know, you're going out and selling makeup to someone. I've never understood how that helped the world. This is one of the first times I can genuinely say very proudly, we are doing something that does have a measurable impact around the world. So we start with the question of Solar Oil Project. It's not a company. So what is it? It's a true global initiative that is designed for everybody to be able to participate and genuinely make a significant impact around the world while earning along the way.